Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. Today I'm going to do a review on this DeLonghi TrueBrew automatic coffee maker, model number CAM51025MB. So this does retail for $500. They do sell 3 different models. One model has one less of these, and the more expensive model you can brew into a carafe. I've got kind of like the middle model. The biggest it does is 24 ounce. Now I'll be making an espresso, we'll be making a coffee, we'll be brewing a travel mug, and we're going to do an iced coffee. But first, be sure and check out my setup video. Now, this thing pretty much comes assembled out of the box. I was very surprised by the setup, how simple it was. But there are just a few little things with that, like the hard water softness tester. It comes with a little strip of paper. You're going to test your softness. The menu's not super complicated, but you're going to have to go through that menu, set the time, set the hard water softness, set the temperature. Now, the main thing I'm learning from this coffee maker, it makes a great cup of coffee. It is automatic. You can make one right after the other, but you've got to respect a few things. You've got to respect the power button. Never before have normally you can kind of do what you want to do with coffee makers, but this power button on this one is very important because inside here, there's a mechanism that moves up and down. So this just pulls out. You're going to have to empty out these pucks once in a while, but that mechanism moves up and down according to the power. And anytime you want to pull this tray out, make sure the power is off. So when we turn power on, you're going to hear it's going to do something. I haven't pressed a brew button or nothing, but it's moving that thing. You'll hear some water, and you'll kind of hear a motor. That's normal. So up here's where we're going to put our coffee beans. Having fresh coffee beans, I found with this coffee maker really helps out a bunch. If you want to put your own ground coffee, you can put it back here, but I don't recommend doing that very often. I've ran into a couple problems when I did it. It works fine, but you've got to be very specific of when you do it. I recommend just using using coffee beans and let it grind it. So we got our coffee beans in, we got a water tank. The water tank is removable. I've got it filled up. So when you turn it on, it takes a little while. Now these lights light up. It's a touch screen, and I can select the size by picking the size button and the type of brew, and there's the brew button. Let's get a close up. There is a light underneath there. So see how that light moves across. And again, we can do a light, gold, bold, over ice, which I'm going to do. And that when you do your own coffee, when you want to put your own ground coffee in there, that's what you do. This is the menu button. You can program this to come on in the morning. There's a descale light and it tells you this is the descale mode, and there's the brew button. We got this little tray that comes down. I've got the new DeLonghi coffee mugs. This holds 8.5 ounces. It's not double wall or anything, but it's what they show in the commercials, so I thought I would get it. Again, I'm going to select the size, 8 ounce. I like to do gold. I really can't tell much difference between light, gold, and bold. Now I'm going to hit the brew button. It's going to grind the coffee into a puck. It's going to put it in that mechanism in the back, and then it's going to shoot hot water through it to brew your coffee. This is all automatic, and it is rather quick. Okay, so the coffee's coming out. It smells really good when it's brewing. Starts out around 160. It does ramp up. I have seen as high as 200. Ramps up pretty quick. Here's where the coffee's coming out. And it is a relatively fast coffee maker. Now at the end of this, you're going to hear the machine doing some work. There's a coffee puck that it has to get rid of and put into another chamber. So the coffee's ready to go. 166. The brew light is still flashing. That tells me that there's still something going on inside there. You'll hear water running. You'll hear a little pop and a snap. That's all normal. And you have to respect the machine doing the work. Okay, so these lights are back on. The brew light is steady. I can brew another coffee. So that takes, 15, 20 seconds, but it is important for the coffee machine to do that. So here's what the coffee, I have to add cream and sugar. I'm not a coffee taste expert by no means. I do think it makes a very nice hot cup of coffee. And anytime you're using your own coffee beans that are fresh, you really do end up with a nice cup of coffee. Now I want to show you real quick how it made that coffee. So I'm just going to pull this out because this is where the pucks go. In here you're going to see there's where the puck goes that it made the coffee. Eventually that will fill up, and you do have to take this over and empty this up. There is some rinse water also. So inside here you'll see this will fill up also. And there's a light on here to let you know when it's full, then it won't brew another coffee until it's time you empty those. The machine is very well made. You just slide this back in. It just feels very nicely made. Now earlier, here's these coffee pucks. Now they don't remain intact. I had to be real careful with them, but that's what it's creating, a coffee puck, and it's brewing hot water through it. Okay, so I got the DeLonghi. This is a double wall espresso cup. Let's make an espresso now. There's the 3 ounce. We only got one size of espresso. Let's do a bold and hit the brew button. It's grinding the coffee. Now I have noticed when you do an espresso, the brew sounds different. You kind of hear the same sounds with the machine popping and grinding, but what you hear with the espresso, you hear kind of a pressure buildup. It's hard to explain, but it's definitely building up some pressure and then brewing the water through it. Hear that pressure, kind of like squeaking. So it definitely brews it differently. And you end up with a very hot espresso. I mix these with my cappuccinos and lattes, and they taste really good. So the espresso coming out, again, really, really hot. And again, you'll hear the sounds at the end. It is done, so I can take the espresso, but the brew light is flashing. That lets me know that internally there is still some stuff going on. Now with these double wall, that's cool to the touch. Even though that espresso inside there is really, really hot, I can hold this. Okay, just some quick measurements before we do a travel mug. With the tray down, about 4.5. With that tray up, you can put almost an 8 over, just right at an 8-inch travel mug in there. Okay, so we're gonna brew into a travel mug. I got my Yeti 24-ounce Canopy Green coffee mug. We're gonna select the size, 3, 8, 16, 20, 24 ounce. I like to do mine on, now be careful. This has messed me up a little bit. See, when I cycle through these right here, it automatically goes, when you go over to here, to this scoop button, the most the scoop can do, like when you want to add your own coffee grounds, is 16 ounce. You can't do 20 and 24. So I had 24 selected. Well, I can't now. When I was over here on gold, like there, 24 is selected. But then I cycled through here and it bumped me down to 16. So see, that shouldn't be that way. But so let's go back to gold. So basically pick your brew, what you want to brew first, and then the size. Let's do the full 24 ounces. I've got it on gold. Hit the brew button. It's going to grind the coffee and make a puck. Okay, so I'm getting the coffee bean light. I got to add some more coffee beans. Okay, so it's brewing the coffee, and there it must have a sensor that lets me know that it needs coffee beans. Now once I add them, that light goes away. I'm still brewing this. Now the reason I hurried up and put coffee beans in there, because this coffee maker can only make a puck so big. So even though I've got 24 ounce selected, it's not going to brew the full 24 ounces all at once. It has to brew about, I think it brews about 10 to 12 ounces the first brew. So that'll be the first puck. It's going to stop. It's going to get rid of that puck. You'll hear the grinder kick on. It'll make another puck, and then it'll finish the brew. It's all automatic. You don't have to do anything, but that's what's going on. So don't take your travel mug away if it's finishing the brew. Okay, so it's finishing up, but now the brew light's going to still flash because we got some more coffee to make. And so you'll hear inside, I hear some water. I'm going to hear it getting rid of the puck, and then it's going to make another one. So we got quite a bit of the coffee already made. Now I have found this one is running a little short. When I brew a 24 ounce, it's only brewing about 20 to 22 ounces. Okay, it's making another puck. I am going to give DeLonghi a call because it's been pretty consistent. The 20 ounces has been a little short. The 16, the 12, the 8 ounces was just right. And the espresso was just a little under 3 ounces. And it didn't matter whether I selected light, gold, or bold. it doesn't brew the full 24 ounces. Okay, so here's the second part of the brew. Yeah, and you end up with an extremely hot travel mug of coffee. Now the water's coming out right now. I can set the coffee in there already. 175, 176. I should have timed this. I mean, it's not super long. I want to say it's probably about 2 to 3 minutes when you want to brew the full, just because that mechanism in there has to move and make another puck. You only get into that second puck 20 or 24. The 8, 12, and the 16 only make one puck. And same with the espresso, it only makes one puck. Okay, so it's finishing up. Again, an extremely hot 185 degree travel mug full of coffee. That's a pretty good deal about this coffee maker. Being able to make a travel mug like that relatively quick. Okay, we've made an espresso, coffee, travel mug. Let's make an iced coffee. Iced coffee is very simple. We're going to select iced coffee. Now let's do the size. And the size is going to be important. When I've got 12 ounce selected and I select over ice, it doesn't brew the full 12 ounces. It's going to brew half of whatever it says. So it's going to brew 6 ounces into a travel mug. That's going to be a very concentrated coffee, but the ice is going to melt, dilute it, and it'll be just right. And same with 8 ounces. 8 ounces will brew 4 ounces into there. If 24, it'll brew 12 ounces. So that'll take a pretty big travel mug with a bunch of ice. But let's just do the 8 ounce. Now there's one little extra step you got to do. I've got 8 ounce selected. I've got over ice. I'm going to hit the brew button. Now these lights are going to flash right here. You got to select if you're going to use your own ground coffee. You want a light, gold, or bold. I'm going to do bold over ice. Now I hit the brew button again. Now it starts the brew process. The over ice light is flashing, bold is lit, and the 8 ounce. And it starts brewing right away. And that coffee is going to be at the same temperature as like for a normal coffee. It doesn't lower the temperature or anything. Yeah, it starts out around 170, ramps up really quick. And I will be putting links in the show description notes to these tumblers. These are the Mars tumblers, which I really like. Okay, so it's done. The brew light's still flashing. I can take my drink out, but it's still going to be doing some work. Again, that's a pretty nice iced coffee. Let me add some milk to it. Let me add my French vanilla. I really do like these little pumps now. About 5 or 6 pumps. Yeah, stir that up. That's a nice iced coffee. It has a very nice, strong coffee flavor. And again, I haven't talked much about the coffee taste itself. Again, the espressos, I can't drink these by itself, but I have put them in a cappuccino or latte. You will have to have like a milk frother. They taste delicious. Now that 3 ounces, you can't go any smaller than 3 ounces, so it has to be pretty big. You know, a regular cup of coffee, again, when I put my cream and sugar in there, it really does taste like a nice cup of coffee, but I kind of owe that to using freshly ground coffee beans. Okay, so I am going to brew with this. I want to do it because I've done it a couple times and I've messed up. It's a little tricky when you want to use your own ground coffee. Now, it does come with the manuals. The manuals are okay. I had to really read them pretty good. There is a little chart in here when you want to use your ground coffee, basically how many scoops. I'm going to put 2 scoops in there for an 8 ounce coffee. But you watch the process. This is where I mess up. I okay, grab the scoop, put the coffee in, and then start it. There's a very specific time when to put the ground coffee up there. If you put it in too early, it's going to make a mess. So how we do it is select your size, then go over here, select the type. I'm going to do 8 ounce. Then I'm going to see how that is lit up. I'm going to press the brew. It doesn't start the brew, but it opens up a little slide up there so that coffee can go in. So hit the brew button. Okay, I heard a little tray open up. It's flashing. I got to hurry up and add the coffee. You only have a certain amount of time to add that ground coffee. Again, I don't. But, you know, you might get into an emergency situation where you have to do it. Now that I got my coffee ground added, Now I can hit the brew button again. Now it will start the brew. You have to follow the sequence. So it sounds exactly the same other than the grinder. You still get all the pops and the water running and the pump running. There's what the coffee looks like. I would use this only for emergency situations. I feel like this coffee maker really does shine with coffee beans. This coffee tastes okay, but I don't know how much more I can add. You know, you're kind of putting it into an area where you really don't understand. You know, it'd be nice to see exactly where you were putting it and how much you could put in. I felt like this just didn't make the best cup of coffee. Okay, so there's that cup of coffee. Now, I can usually get about 10 to 15 brews through this machine before it'll light the light. It's going to light a red light to let me know that the puck or the water chamber or the dirty water chamber is full, and then I need to clean it out. So let's pretend that is. Now, here's where you've got to respect the power button. Pretty much any time I open this tray, I turn it off and be patient. So I'm going to turn it off. It flashes. It doesn't turn off right away. It's got to go through a process of turning down. It's going to put that in a certain position so that you can remove it. I found that it just keeps you out of trouble. And you got to turn it off anytime you open this up. You'll hear water running. It's kind of flushing out something and putting more water in the dirty water. It's kind of a process. It takes about 20 seconds, 20, 30 seconds. And eventually, the light just goes, it's flashing, it'll just go out. You get lots of popping, snapping. Okay, it just goes out. Now I can open this tray. Again, the tray opens up very easy. So you can see this is quite a bit of water in here. We got quite a bit of coffee pucks that we need to take out. You know, there's the ground coffee puck. You can see it's a lot different than a normal coffee puck. So back here, this is, you know, I do find I've messed up a few times. I get some ground coffee and some coffee beans back here. So I'll have to blow that out. But this thing, there's a lot going on with it, but there's not much you can do with it other than take it out and rinse it out. There you can see that's where the puck is being made. You know, somewhere there's some coffee being ground and shot down into it. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but this thing will not come out unless you turn it off. You can open the tray without turning power off, and you're like, oh, I got the tray open, I'm gonna just look in here real quick. This thing moves up and down, and if it's not in a certain position, you'll pull and you can't get it out. I made a separate video on just that. My power's off, let's press the buttons. It should come out effortlessly. Okay, we can see, all we can do is rinse this off. There's what that looks like. So I'll take this over to the sink. Again, be careful, it is kind of hot. This is some kind of filter, I think. Again, I don't know a lot about it. This moves, but you can see we can just rinse this off. I have not taken any of this apart. I don't know that I need to or anything. You know, this does move up and down, and that's that. This does move up and down also. But you got to make sure it needs to be in the up position when you're all done. This does kind of loose, but that's okay. So I'm just going to take this and rinse it out. Okay, I've got it rinsed out. They don't really tell us much about it. Just rinse it out. I kind of just dry it off a little bit and let's put it back. Looks like I made a little mess. And again, power is still off. Don't turn power on or anything. You're just going to grab this. This thing just kind of floats down. Make sure that's up top. And it should just push in and snap in. You'll kind of hear those things snap. Okay, so I've cleaned out these other chambers. And again, I just like how well made it is. It just slides in. That's it. Now I can turn it on. And it's going to do a process of turning on, just like it did turning off. So I haven't showed much of the machine. It is a very elegant machine. It does take up like a big footprint. It is a little heavy. It's got the nice logo on the back. Water tank comes off, but it looks really nice. Front to back, you're almost 15 inches. Left to right with the water tank, almost 12 inches. It's not a very tall coffee maker, right about 16. You do have to take the lid off and kind of put some coffee beans in there, but other than that, you don't need a whole lot of room. You know, the box does come with your first descaling solution. I am going to do a separate video on just how to descale this. Again, make sure you do the hard water test, because it's going to determine how fast it lights that light and how hard your water is. And it does come with this nice little test strip that I showed you in my setup video. You know, the manuals, I would like to see these manuals a little bit better. They're detailed, but they're just a little hard to understand, a little hard to kind of get the information out you need. So you can get the more expensive one. It does a 40-ounce carafe. They have one at Target that doesn't do the carafe and it doesn't do the 20-ounce. It's $100 cheaper. I would probably get that. If you don't need a 20-ounce and you need all these other functions, I would probably get that one. It looks different. It's kind of black. This one's kind of silver. Now this coffee maker is 1,500 watts. You can only plug it into 120 volts, 60 hertz. Now the cord on it is 2-prong and it's 4 feet long. It does have a little bit of memory. I unplugged it for about 20 seconds and it did memorize, so that it did keep the time. And again, I can program this. I can program this to brew into a travel mug first thing in the morning, and then I can take it and I'm ready to go. Now I have found there's no warm up with this. So if you wake up in the morning, you come out here and you just turn it on, it doesn't take very long for it and then you're ready to brew. So it's going to come down. This is a $500 coffee maker. I think it makes great coffee. Now, the only problems I've had with it are things that I've induced. I've put coffee down when I wasn't supposed to. I pulled this out and was trying to get that out when I wasn't supposed to. So once I learned the coffee maker, I've not had any problems with it. I've used this for a week now. I've made several things through it. So I've not had any problems other than what I didn't understand about the coffee maker. Now, when you don't understand something, it can be kind of a mess. Putting that coffee grounds down there ended up being a mess. Took about 20 minutes to kind of run some water through it and different things. Also, when I couldn't get that thing out, that took a while. But other than that, it works. And it brews one right after another. The coffee does taste really good. It's got a built-in grinder. There's really nothing you can get to the grinder. I mean, there was a screw up at top. Maybe I'll have to take that apart later. Again, they don't talk much about the internals of this machine at all. And there's really not, from what I see, you can take apart. Long-term wise, again, other than it's not brewing the full 24 ounce, I am going to call DeLonghi about that. I'm going to leave this in the video just because it's probably happening to a lot of people. I don't notice it that much, but it didn't brew the full 24 ounce. Again, the light golden bold, I really couldn't figure out how. I don't know if it's changing the grind. I don't think it is. I thought maybe it was changing how fast the water goes through the puck. I couldn't notice it a whole lot. The bold did taste a little bit bolder. The temperature-wise, I thought the temperature was the same for all of them. Now, I did buy this coffee maker with my own money, and this video is my own opinion on this. I'm still on the fence whether it's worth $500. I think, once you learn it, it's going to be a nice coffee maker. And I think if you want that bold, intense coffee flavor, this one's going to work. But you don't get many different settings. If I wanted a little bit finer grind or something, I don't think I can adjust that. If I wanted to add more coffee and less water, I don't think I can adjust that either. I got to pretty much go by what its settings are. And I might be missing something. Maybe with the light golden bold, that might be doing something there with the amount of coffee. Again, I couldn't figure it out. But as far as design, I thought cleaning it out, very simple. It looks nice. So underneath the video, if you could give it a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. If there was something that you wanted to see about this coffee maker that I missed, put it in the comments down below. I'll drag the coffee maker out again and I'll do a specific video just on that. This video did end up being pretty long. I will put a link to it in the show description notes. If underneath the video, if you see the word see more, click on it. It expands, shows you the full description of the video. In there, I've got a link to my Amazon homepage. I am an Amazon affiliate. It will also have a link to this specifically. If you click on it, it'll take you right to Amazon. The product won't cost you anymore, but I will get a percentage of the sale. That is a way of helping support my channel since I buy this with my own money. And again, I'm going to be doing the descale video. So there's a very specific process and a mode to put the machine in to descale it. That's the main reason I buy these coffee makers. I want to buy them. You know, I was an aircraft mechanic for so many years. I can read the manuals. If the manuals are good, I can read them. I can explain them. I can show you exactly how to descale it. Sometimes the manuals leave a little bit to be desired, so that I can kind of show you how with a video, how to descale it. I do appreciate everybody's support. I hope my videos are helping people. That is what started my channel. That is what's continuing my channel. I have ventured out into some like carpet cleaners, ice cream makers. I'm having fun with those. So again, thumbs up. If you could hit the subscribe button. I will be getting different types of coffee makers like this. I can't get these real expensive ones all the time, but I will be getting one probably in another month or so. I'll put a poll out there, see which one I should get. Probably maybe the Philips. It seemed like it got a lot of votes too. But DeLonghi they make some really expensive ones. I think they make some that are like $1,000, $2,000. But they do more with the espresso and more with the milk and frothing and all that. So again, thanks everybody. If you could, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much.